Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and let's aim for 10,000 likes on this video. It might seem hard, but I trust you can make it happen. Now, let's begin. The drama begins with Hyun waking up from sleep. Her face reflects deep depression and loneliness. As she looks out the window, she notices something strange. Every person walking by has red lines above their heads. At that moment, she begins narrating to us, "Since I was a little girl, I've been seeing these red lines. I used to sit quietly, drawing odd, featureless images, everything tangled into everything else. I remember the day my mother found out my father was cheating on her. She confronted him right in front of me, and I just stood there, watching it all, silent." She continues, "As I grew up, I began to understand what these red lines really meant. They're not just symbols, they're secrets. Bonds between two people, revealing hidden truths no one else can see. The longer the line, the closer disaster gets." That's why Hyun once tried to end her life, many times in fact, but each attempt failed. Eventually, she made a decision. "If I can't die, then I need to find out why I see these red lines, and if there's anyone else like me who can see them too." One day, her neighbor stops by and drops off food, as usual. Hyun becomes startled when she sees many red lines above her neighbor's head, meaning the woman has had many intimate or personal relationships in her past. The neighbor doesn't speak much, she just leaves the food and goes, knowing Hyun never leaves the house. Hyun quickly eats the food. Meanwhile, we're introduced to Detective Han, a sharp, skilled officer heading to the police station. In another scene, we shift to a high school where a girl named Sion is being brutally bullied by a group of girls. They beat her so badly she can't even move. The leader of the bullies sneers, "Since your uncle's the chief of police, we need to teach you a lesson." Then they drag her by the hair and nearly throw her off the school rooftop. Back to Detective Han. He's investigating a murder case of a 29-year-old woman who lived alone and was mysteriously killed. Her food came from an unknown brand, making him suspect she was poisoned. That night, while the police discuss the case, they suspect that the food delivery man may be the killer, as he seems mentally unstable. The news reports the woman's murder on TV, and Hyun watches, shocked, because she sees only one red line above the dead woman's head. That night, Hyun hears someone knocking on her neighbor's door. Based on everything she's seen, she starts to suspect that this man is the killer. For the first time ever, she charges her phone and calls the police to report that the man they're looking for is inside the building across from hers. But suddenly she hangs up. She feels overwhelmed by a dizzying storm of red lines. The next morning, Sion asks her uncle for money, and he gives it to her. She tries to hide her face, avoiding his gaze. He asks nothing, unaware she's being bullied. Meanwhile, one of Han's assistants calls and tells him about the mysterious girl who called the police the night before, but suddenly hung up. Han heads straight to her building. When Hyun opens the door and sees Han, she's shocked. He has so many red lines above his head. Her neighbor tells Han, "She's the most isolated person in this entire city. She'll never speak to you." But Han doesn't give up. He knocks and knocks until Hyun finally opens. She apologizes and says she dialed by mistake, then slams the door in his face. That night, a man wearing a helmet stands outside her door. At the same time, Sion sees a rich-looking woman and tries to follow her to rob her, but fails. She overhears some boys talking about money. Meanwhile, Detective Han is working another murder case, this time of a woman named Dong, and he learns she had an ex-boyfriend. Suddenly, Han receives a call from the hospital where his father is being treated. He rushes over and finds his father standing on the rooftop, attempting to end his life. As Han is on his way home, his detective friend calls him, but before he can say anything, the man in the helmet attacks Han, beats him, ties him up, then stares at his reflection in the mirror and says, "That's it, we're now one." The helmeted man heads to Hyun's neighbor's house. Hyun watches from the window in terror. Scared out of her mind, she grabs a sharp object and leaves the apartment. She sees something ahead but becomes paralyzed with fear. She collapses. She sees a vision of her mother far away and tries to reach for her hand, but faints. Meanwhile, the helmeted man goes to visit the woman he loves. He wears glasses and sees multiple red lines above her head, realizing she's been unfaithful. Enraged, he begins to strangle her. Suddenly, Hyun appears. He's shocked to see her. But he grabs a knife and stabs Hyun. His girlfriend attacks him in return. Back at Hyun's apartment, Detective Han arrives and is stunned by the bizarre drawings on her walls. Through the window, he witnesses the entire confrontation. He pulls out his gun to shoot the killer, but then Hyun stabs the killer herself. But nothing happens. It's Han's bullet that actually kills the man. Just before dying, the killer mutters, "The line, it disappeared." The ambulance arrives. Hyun keeps thinking about what he said, haunted by his words. She sees Han and asks him about the man who died. He replies, "I'll tell you everything, at the station." As they stand together, Sion walks in. She sees Hyun and blurts out, "Wait, why are you wearing black sunglasses in the dark?" Hyun's uncle asks if she and Sion already know each other. Later, Detective Han goes back home and visits his niece, Sion. He wants to know what happened to her at school, but she refuses to tell him anything. That frustrates him, and as he's about to leave, she tells him that the girl they met earlier is named Hyun and that they used to be classmates in elementary school. She also reveals something shocking. Hyun's mom killed her dad when they were little, then ran away. We cut to Hyun, sitting alone and making a decision. She won't wear the black sunglasses anymore. She wants to return to life, face the world as she truly is. But suddenly, she receives a strange message from an unknown person. "Come to the high school. I know everything about you." The next day at school, the teacher is late. A student named Jun arrives and hands her some important documents. She thanks him, saying she would have forgotten them. Then another student, a classmate, comes over and keeps calling Jun class president. He laughs and tells her, "I'm not even in your class. You can't call me that." They both laugh and joke around. Meanwhile, Sion is walking nervously through school. She's fed up and climbs to the rooftop, needing space. Back to Hyun, she's thinking about that mysterious message. She stares at an old photo of herself and her grandmother. She decides it's time to change her life, so she removes all the papers she'd taped to the windows. When Sion arrives at school, she's shocked. Her bully classmate had drawn her picture and written horrible things on it. Sion is so embarrassed that she silently goes to her desk, anxious and ashamed. She's even more shocked when she sees her bully reading her personal diary. Sion rushes at her to snatch it away, but the bully fights back and starts beating her again. Luckily, the teacher arrives just in time and stops the fight. She pulls Sion aside to talk. Sion, overwhelmed with rage, says, "I want to kill her." She then decides to leave school and head home. As she's walking out, she notices something strange, a pair of black sunglasses. They're the same ones worn by the masked man, the one who could see the red lines on people's heads. She's scared, but takes them anyway. That night, Hyun sits in the office with her colleague. They discuss how the media is attacking them for killing the criminal, but they're more interested in understanding why he murdered the two girls he once loved. They believe something deeper is going on. So Han goes to the killer's house and finds red lines drawn all over the wall. He has no idea what they mean. Meanwhile, Sion puts on the sunglasses and looks in the mirror, only to see one red line above her own head. She's confused and unsettled. Then she sees her uncle and gasps. He has many red lines over his head. Terrified, she screams and runs into her room. She storms out of the house, walking past strangers. She looks at everyone she passes and sees red lines above their heads. Sometimes, one red line connects two people, meaning they're in a secret relationship no one else knows about. The next day, as she heads to school, her uncle offers her a ride, but when she sees the red lines again, she's disgusted. She refuses to get in the car and walks away. At school, she's happy, because now she can tell how many personal connections each person has. Then she sees something surprising. Her bully's red line stretches all the way to the teacher's room. Curious, she goes in and finds her teacher inside. That means the bully has a secret relationship with the teacher. She's delighted. Now she can finally get her revenge. During class, Hyun enters. The bully keeps staring and laughing at her. Meanwhile, Han heads to the school and starts asking the teacher a lot of questions. He explains the case about the serial killer who lived across from Hyun. Then he asks, "Did that guy ever wear glasses?" The teacher replies, "I don't think so. I've never seen him wear glasses." Elsewhere, the bully slaps Sion across the face. Her sunglasses fall, but she picks them up and puts them back on. When the bully tries to slap her again, Sion grabs her hand and shoves her to the ground. Hyun rushes in and steps in to defend Sion. The bully turns on Hyun, and the two girls start fighting. Hyun almost pushes the bully off the roof. Scared, the bully runs away. Later, Sion gets angry at Hyun for helping her and decides to confront her. Meanwhile, Han heads to a local club to investigate someone and learns that the suspect used to come there often, always talking to himself. The bartender says, "He always wore glasses." Back to Sion, the bully sees her with the teacher and secretly takes a photo of them together. She sends it to Sion as blackmail, but the bully doesn't care and ignores the threat. Sion loses hope. Out of desperation, she sends the photo to the teacher's wife. The teacher panics. Later, Sion and Hyun are walking together, talking about their lives. Meanwhile, the teacher, now terrified of being exposed, goes to confront the bully, Yoon. But she's calm and cold. She apologizes, then walks away. Yoon heads over to Sion and watches her from a distance as Sion laughs and takes photos with her friends. Yoon is confused. She doesn't understand how Sion knows so much. Sion walks away happily and starts to manipulate one of her classmates, making him fall into her trap. Yoon secretly follows her into the bathroom and pulls out the sunglasses. She asks, "Can you really see the red lines?" Sion explains, "Every student has red lines above their heads. This device is dangerous." But Sion doesn't care. She takes the sunglasses and walks away. While walking together, Sion asks Hyun how she was able to get rid of her own red lines. That takes Hyun back to the darkest memory of her life. Her mom killing her dad after finding out he cheated on her. Back in the bathroom, Yoon had been hiding and listening to everything. She steals Sion's bag, which has the sunglasses inside. When she puts them on, she finally sees the red lines herself. But then someone sneaks up behind her and hits her on the head. Sion calls Hyun and tells her everything that happened, but suddenly she drops the phone on her face and heads out to meet the teacher on the rooftop. She asks him for the money he promised. The teacher reveals, "I'm married. My wife is pregnant and I already have a child. I don't have that kind of money." He pleads with her not to ruin him. Then suddenly, he finds out the photo was already sent to his wife. He panics and starts fighting with Sion. She's confused. She didn't send it. Meanwhile, Hyun is frantically looking for Sion. She finds her lying on the ground, having fallen from the rooftop. The red line above Sion's head begins to disappear. That means one thing: she's going to die. Hyun bursts into tears beside her. But the big question remains: who really pushed Sion? Was it the teacher or someone else? She races her to the hospital. When Han shows up, Hoi tells him firmly, "There's no way she tried to kill herself. Someone else is involved." The next day, the school's principal throws a tantrum over the scandal. The English teacher disappears. Nobody can track him down. Meanwhile, the Korean language teacher heads to his sister's place before flying to Canada for a new job. Hyun, still disturbed, returns to the school rooftop hoping to find clues. Another student, Kyung, walks up and says, "I'm in your class. I figured you came here to look for evidence. Do you think Xion really jumped on her own, or did someone push her?" The questions keep coming, but Hyun remains silent. Then Kyung casually says, "Don't worry, Sion is still alive. Once she wakes up, she'll tell us everything." At that moment, Jian walks by wearing glasses. Hyun stops him. "Wait, you're wearing glasses now? Since when?" He says, "Oh, these? They're just lenses. Thought I'd try something new." Elsewhere, Teacher Kim finds a pair of glasses left on his desk. He asks Lena if she knows whose they are. She replies, "Well, they're on your desk. Must be yours. Why don't you try them on?" The moment he puts them on, his world erupts in red lines. Back at the police station, Han visits the school to ask about the girl who bullied Sion. The teacher tells him she's been missing for days. Han retrieves the security footage and sees Yoon calmly stealing Sion's bag and walking away like nothing happened. Meanwhile, Kim is having dinner with his sister and her husband, completely shaken by the wild tangle of red lines floating above their heads. Kim begins to have doubts. He suspects his sister's husband is cheating with her neighbor. Why? Because he sees a red thread rising from his head, connecting him to someone on the floor below them. And then, while they're in the elevator, he presses the 4th floor instead of the 5th, as if by habit. That confirms it. There's definitely something going on. Meanwhile, Officer Han is furious. The investigators are trying to close his niece's case as a simple suicide. He does everything he can to make them listen to his point of view, but the case is being shut down. Hard. They want to bury the scandal surrounding the school. Later, Kim visits the school again and starts forming a bond with the teacher. He casually asks her, "What would you do if someone close to you cheated on you?" She replies, If I was really sure, I'd go full soap opera, meltdown, revenge, drama, just like the shows. Han finds her answer oddly reasonable. After all, he's been traumatized by betrayal his whole life. His father cheated on his mother, and the girl he loved for 6 years turned out to be cheating on him with his best friend. The next day, 2 disasters strike at once. First, scandalous photos of the English teacher leak online. And worse, he's found dead in his car. Next to him is a suicide note apologizing to his family for what he's done. But as always, Han isn't convinced. Something feels off. Someone else must be involved. Han goes straight to Hyun at school and questions her about the glasses. He's baffled by why Sion would go so far as to steal something like that. Hyun simply tells him, "Find the glasses first, then I'll explain everything." And she walks away. Elsewhere, Kim is returning home when he sees his sister's husband driving around in suspicious clothes, clearly dressed up for a date. Kim follows him to catch him red-handed. He waits until the dinner is over, then knocks on the car window. The man is shocked and starts begging, "Please don't tell your sister. I'll fix everything." Kim decides to keep the secret, hoping it'll help preserve her marriage. He starts packing to leave for his trip, but suddenly he gets a call from his sister. She's crashed her car into the woman's vehicle. Kim rushes to the garage and sees his sister lying on the ground in tears. Her husband arrives and walks right past her to comfort the other woman. That's when Kim completely loses it. He's ready to beat him up, but his sister stops him, shouting, "Leave him alone!" That's when we learn the truth. He was never her husband. She was trying to steal him from his real wife, constantly threatening him that if he didn't comply, she'd ruin everything. That's why he had to keep up the act. Meanwhile, Han feeling scary checks on his niece. He searches her room, hoping to find a clue, maybe a suicide note. Instead, he finds a sketchbook full of human figures connected by red threads. He rushes to Hyun, knowing she's the only one who can understand this nonsense. She sits him down and explains everything from the beginning, all of it. At first, he doesn't believe her until she shows him the truth right on his face. Then it clicks. She's not joking. The next day, Hyun is chatting with her friends at school. She tells them she started working part-time at a small hotel near her house. At the same time, we meet Choi, who works in the admin office of the same school. She's obsessed with the red line glasses. The school principal is scolding her for not submitting a proper report. Choi tries to stay composed, but she knows she's never had a relationship in her life. There isn't even a single thread above her head. She returns to her office and takes out her frustration on her stapler. Later, during lunch break, she tells her coworkers, "You know, my real dream is to be an actress. I've got talent, it's just been buried." They all try to hold in their laughter. Her appearance is, well, a little chaotic. Acting? Seriously? But then, her face lights up with joy when she sees the music teacher walk by. She has a silent crush on him. After school, she puts on a red dress and a pink wig and checks into the hotel where Hyun works. She books a room to spend the night pretending to be someone else. Hyun thinks she looks familiar until her coworker reminds her, "Isn't that the admin lady from school?" But Hyun doesn't care. She finishes work and heads straight to the hospital to check on Sion. There, Han asks her, "How many red lines do you see above my niece's head?" Hyun replies, "That's personal info. I can't tell you." The next day, Choi returns to school and interrupts the music teacher's class. She starts flirting with him, and, surprisingly, a red thread appears connecting them. Meanwhile, Jian is doing everything he can to show Hyun he likes her. He invites her to the pool, and without thinking, she jumps right in. He panics. He knows she can't swim, and dives in after her. After rescuing her, he gently asks, "Why'd you jump like that? No offense, but what were you thinking?" She opens up and explains her power. To her shock, he believes her. When she gets home, she discovers her first red thread has finally appeared. Elsewhere, Choi finishes school and heads to the hotel again. We learn that she often rents a room just to practice her acting alone. But this time, something changes. Her room has a small hole in the wall, and she can clearly see into the room next door. She gets addicted to watching people through it. But this time, she sees something she can't handle, the music teacher with another woman. The pain of betrayal consumes her. She waits until the woman comes back to the room, then hits her over the head with a fire extinguisher, ties her up, and steals her dress, the same style the teacher likes. She drugs his water and waits. When he walks in, expecting his date, she surprises him. When he tries to throw her out, he can't. He's already drugged. After killing him, she walks into the bathroom and takes her own life. Later, Hyun finds the crime scene and calls the police. She tells Han there's a high chance Choi had the same glasses. She's seen her wearing them several times. After the police wrap up the investigation, Han returns to the room to search for the glasses. He finds them in the bathtub. The moment he puts them on, his eyes widen with horror. He flashes back to the day Sion was born. He was thrilled. But a few years later, her parents died, and he became her sole guardian. He fell into depression, overwhelmed by the responsibility. He now carries intense guilt. Snapping out of the memory, he returns to the police station, overwhelmed by all the red lines he sees around people. He notices that his colleague only has one red line and tells him, "We really are different people." Han himself is covered in a fountain of threads. Suddenly, a student from the same school walks in, visibly shaken. She's come to file a sexual harassment complaint. Back at school, Hyun is finally enjoying life with her new friends. They plan a small surprise birthday for her. It'll be her first one ever. Jian texts her, "What do you say we meet up alone before the party?" She feels like life is finally rewarding her after years of loneliness. But then, just like that, everything shuts down again. She receives a new message from the same unknown number. It's an invitation to her own birthday. The next morning, she walks into school with one question burning in her mind. Who is this person, and why do they know so much about me? At the same time, Han is deeply immersed in a new case. A female student has filed a sexual harassment complaint claiming she was training with a classmate at his house. She says she fell asleep, and when she woke up, something had happened between them. Han suspects she's lying, especially since she claimed she'd never been in a relationship before, yet she had 4 red threads above her head. He and his colleague head to the school to question Yu, the accused. Coincidentally, Han runs into a teacher there, and he's stunned to see not a single red thread above her head. A rarity. She's clearly someone with high morals. When they sit down with Yu, he denies everything. "I don't know what she's talking about, we were just practicing. She fell asleep, so I moved her to the bed and went out to buy some stuff from the market." Just as the interrogation ends, Han runs into Hyun, who is furious. She sees him wearing the glasses and snaps at him. "I told you again and again, those glasses are nothing but trouble, and now you're just strolling around like it's fashion?" They get into a loud argument, which draws the teacher's attention. Whoa, what's going on here, guys? Why so worked up?" But then they all freeze. She can see the red threads too. Apparently, the glasses awakened something inside her. Back at the police station, Han questions the girl again. Based on the number of threads and the fact that none of them are connected to Yu, he's now certain she's lying. With no clear evidence, he decides to drop the case. Later at home, Hyun confronts him. "So, you're not going to give me back the glasses?" He tells her the glasses actually helped him solve the schoolgirl's case. She said she was never in a relationship, but she had 4 red threads. Hyun nods, saying, "That's true. Just a week ago I didn't even have one." That stuns Han. Something doesn't add up. He and his partner head to Yu's house to investigate further. Inside, they notice the bed blanket is brand new. That means the old one was likely disposed of. They go dumpster diving outside the building and, sure enough, they find the original blanket hidden in a black trash bag. That confirms something definitely happened. Han retrieves CCTV footage from the market Yu claimed to have visited. The footage shows that 4 of Yu's friends visited his place that day. And strangely, after leaving, each one had an additional red thread above their heads. Han arrests them all to interrogate together, and that's when the truth unravels. Yu didn't do anything himself, but he plotted the whole thing. He spiked her drink with a sedative and let his friends do the rest. Later that day, Han rushes to the hospital. He's been told his father escaped again, but this time, CCTV shows someone helped him. Han rewinds the footage and is shocked to see it was teacher Lena. Worried, he runs to the hospital. Thankfully, his father is still safe. Meanwhile, Hyun is waiting for Jian to celebrate her birthday. They go out walking together, and when it gets late, he tells her, "Wait here, I'm going to grab something real quick." He's off to buy her a cake to surprise her. Hyun stands by a mirror in the street, staring at herself in disbelief. She finally has a red thread, just like everyone else. Suddenly, she hears a sharp gust of wind. She rushes toward the noise and finds Jian collapsed on the ground. A metal rod had fallen and struck him. She's devastated. She believes this is her fault, a curse caused by her power. Then she gets a video message. It shows her best friend tied to a chair. A voice says, "If you want to see her alive, come to the school." With no one else to call, she contacts Officer Han. They rush to the school together. Once inside, they find themselves on the same floor, but unable to see each other. Hyun finds her friend tied up in a classroom. She runs in and frees her, yelling, "Let's get out of here now!" But no matter what exit they take, they always end up in the same hallway. So they decide to try going up instead, maybe to the rooftop. Han, meanwhile, finds himself in a dark, unsettling room. He meets a woman named Moon, surrounded by robotic, lifeless people. She's standing over a table with body parts, smiling. "Only one more left," she says. "I've finished off all the men who were connected to me, and I've erased the threads above my head." Now we get her backstory. She was once a university student, betrayed by a man she loved, who filmed her in a compromising situation and leaked the video to the whole campus. She was devastated, nearly ending her life, but that day she ran into Lena, who saved her and gave her a pair of glasses. "You want revenge?" Lena said. "Go get it." Lena is the one who's been distributing the glasses all along. Moon spent years eliminating every man tied to her, and with every thread that disappeared, her addiction grew stronger. Without warning, she kills another victim, a bullet to the head. Back on the rooftop, Hyun and her friend are cornered. Her friend suddenly puts on a pair of glasses and says, "You know, I heard that if you die, your soul will spread, and everyone will be able to see the threads without needing glasses." Then she lunges at Hyun. Hyun desperately tries to break the glasses, hoping to free her from their influence. At that moment, Lena finally reappears, dressed in white. Her body is glowing with an insane number of red threads. She's holding Han's father by the arm and commands, "Finish him. You've wanted to for years." Han lifts his weapon. He's genuinely tempted, but Lena suddenly grabs his hand and does it for him. She kills Han's father. She then turns to Han. "You're next." Hyun steps in and pleads, "Why are you doing this?" Lena explains, "Our gift is a blessing, but you're the only one who doesn't know how to use it. I'm the only one brave enough to set the truth free." Hyun refuses to follow her logic, so Lena tries to kill her too, claiming that once Hyun is dead, her energy will spread and everyone will be able to see the truth. Suddenly, Hyun's mother appears and throws herself in front of her daughter, taking the fatal blow. She tearfully apologizes. "I'm sorry for leaving you all those years. I had the glasses too. It wasn't your fault what happened to your father." But Hyun barely has time to process that before Lena attacks her. The air turns red, threads explode from her body and rise into the sky. Then everything goes black. When Hyun wakes up, she's lying in a hospital bed, alive. The chaos is over. Lena is gone. And with her disappearance, everyone wakes up from the trance the glasses put them under. But there's one problem. The power has now spread. Now everyone, literally everyone, can see the red threads. A year later, people have adapted. Society changed. People learned to live with the truth, even when it's painful. Jan finally wakes up from his coma. Hyun and her uncle mend their broken relationship. There's peace between them now. But Hyun herself becomes a loner again. She walks away from it all. One day, while sitting alone, she hears someone calling her name. She turns her head, and there stands Lena. And that is how our series ends. Subscribe for more dramas like this one, tap the bell icon to get updates, and don't forget to like the video. Thanks for watching.